So previously we talked about the brief history of 8D. Now coming to 8D approach. Now in this video we will be having a high level overview of 8D approach, or what are the 8 steps we take when we have a problem or when we want to solve a problem. So these are the 8 steps: D1, D2, D3 and so on. So D1 is the first discipline or the first step. D2 is the second discipline or the second step which you take when you solve the problem. But you will also see that there is another step, which is the 9th step. D0 has been added on top of D1 to D8. So instead of 8 Ds, now there are basically 9 disciplines, and it starts with D0, which is the initial phase or the initial step. Now let's quickly look at these steps. D0 is the preparation and emergency response. So let's think that you have a problem, a big customer complaints, a major failure or something. Then the first step what you might want to do is do preparation and take some emergency response actions. So as far as preparation is concerned, you might want to consider whether you want to go through the 8D approach or not, because 8D approach, as you would understand, will take time. So this might take, let's say, 4 weeks to complete, and there are number of people involved in this. So based on the significance or the magnitude of the problem, you might want to decide whether you want to go with the 8D approach or not, or whether for that particular problem you should be just fine with doing 5 whys, or you might be fine doing a quick cause and effect diagram and solve that problem. So this is a part of D0, where you decide whether you want to go with 8D or not. Another important thing is emergency response. So if you have a problem, you might need to think that what are the immediate steps you want to take, because those things might not wait for 4 weeks when you complete your all 8D steps. So there might be some actions which you immediately might want to take, because that might cause some safety hazard to your clients, or that might lead to much bigger losses. So let's say if there is a leakage in the tank. Now if you are doing 8D for that, the first thing you might want to do is stop the leakage, because you will not wait for all these 8D steps to complete and then you work on why the leakage happened. So this was D0. D1 is establish the team. So if you have decided that you will go with 8D approach here, so you need to assemble a team. This team could be 3 people, 4 people from different disciplines. So you assemble them and make a team, give them the target that this is the problem and this is the target to achieve the solution to that problem. D2 is describe the problem. That is the second discipline. So if you define or describe the problem very well, then half of your work is done, because if you understand the problem, you have gained a lot just by understanding the problem clearly. Then the third step or D3 is interim containment plan. So here, similar to what we have done in D0, you look at the emergency response, whatever actions you took in D0, whether those are sufficient or you want to take some more action to contain the problem. So this step is similar to D0, which also included emergency response. So in D3, that is exactly you do once again. You look at all the emergency plans, all the interim actions which you have taken, whether those are sufficient or not, or whether you want to add something more to that or not. That is D3 or the interim containment plan. Now the problem has been contained for some time. Now you can go for D4, which is a root cause analysis. In root cause analysis, you look at the root cause. So here you differentiate between what are the symptoms and what are the real causes of the problems. For root cause analysis, many a times you will be using tools such as 7 basic quality tools which we have already discussed. So you look at the problem, you might want to draw a histogram, you might want to look at the control chart or make a scatter plot or make a check sheet. So you do those things to understand what the real problem is, what is the real cause or the root cause of the problem. And here you want to differentiate between the symptoms and the causes. That is D4. In the next step, which is D5, based on the root cause analysis, you develop the permanent corrective action plan. And corrective action plan contains those actions which will permanently remove the problem so that problem doesn't recur again and again. So you develop action plan for that. And then you implement that in step number D6 or the sixth discipline. So you implement your permanent corrective action plan. And in D7, you prevent the future recurrence. So this is basically the preventive action. You want to see whether similar type of problem could happen in another plant, in another process. So you look around and see whether there is a possibility of similar problem happening somewhere else as well. So if that is the case, you might want to prevent those as well. That is D7. And the last step, or D8, is recognize contribution of the team and individuals. So with that, you celebrate that you have successfully solved a problem permanently. So these are the 8 steps which you take to solve a problem. Now, this was a high-level overview. As we go further, we will be going through each of these disciplines one by one in more detail. We will be looking at some tools which are associated with that particular discipline. But before we do that, let's understand the difference between a symptom and the problem. We will do that in the next video.